Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. I'm just going to let all of the streams populate. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Is that all of them? Yeah. So I've got Lucy monitoring questions. So if you want to ask any questions live, I'll do my best to field them. And at the end, all of your questions, I can bring them up on the screen and go through them. Obviously, loads and loads of you put questions, so thank you very much. I think it was 100 of you put questions when you registered for the webinar. So they're all under the same sort of banners. So I'll make a start here to go through some of these. I aim to answer them all in one way or another. There's maybe one or two where your answer is really point 2 here. Please have a good read of the M&U prospectus. It's a really a great resource document for all of the types of frequently asked questions that we get. So I will signpost you to a couple of areas. Obviously had loads of questions around careers and business and those sorts of things. And we have some fantastic, rather than me just saying, oh yeah, do M&U because of, X, Y, and Z, you can actually go and see real people, authentically talking about the opportunities that have come their way because of studying M&U. And you can go and, outside of anything related to M&U, seek these people out on social media, seek out their business pages, and see if what they're doing is what I tell you are, what it says in the prospectus. So real authenticity, verifiable information, and way better than me just telling you how amazing M&U is. So these are sort of the key areas, what to expect from the student experience, links in part to discuss your fears relating to studying and of course exams. That never leaves people, I don't think, no matter how old you are. And if anything, it gets worse the longer you've been out of any kind of studying or academic study. So I'll talk a bit about that. How M&U is different from other options. Lots of you, different stages of life, different career goals. And so talking a bit about those things, obviously, in my reasons not to do M&U, I talk about this as well. So if you've not seen my reasons not to do M&U, reach out to us, reach out to the admissions team, and they can give you all of that information, which relates to a lot of those things on the very, very few situations where M&U wouldn't be right for you. And obviously, lots of those reasons not to do M&U are actually amazing reasons to do M&U if applicable to your situation. So discuss careers, discuss the business support. So that's another side of things that I know lots of you who registered already have businesses in the health, wellness industry, fitness industry, and but wanting to progress your knowledge, progress your ability to work with a variety of clients, add on certain services to what you currently do. And of course, some of you, I am aware, have worked with an M&E certified nutritionist or know of one who have been recommended the course by them and have seen the business success that they've had as a result. And so that's a really huge theme of M&U in how we teach the theory, how we teach the practical, but then on top of all of that, because all of that we give real life scenarios because you're being taught by practitioners who have been there and are doing it, working with clients, have built businesses, have worked in all of the performance nutrition, corporate wellness programs, one-to-one, high level one-to-one client work. And when we teach you about doing the consultation, so the whole of Module 4, we talk about consultations, how to deliver different programs. And then on top of all this, you get the business support. But the business support also comes along with practical, done for you. I've got a bullet point in here where I say done for you client resources. So you can just take those into your business and rather than spending hours and hours, which as particularly self-employed business people, you spend so much time doing that stuff. We've done it all for you. So let me move on. And I'll just put this bottom point here. Come and meet us at Mac Nutrition Live. So our annual conference, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people from all across the industry, all different walks of life. And it's a wonderful chance to meet current students, graduates, alumni of the course, as well as other people in the industry. And just gives you a good feel, very cheap, some amazing education, but just a feel for the amazing community that you would be able to become part of. Cool. So what to expect from your student experience? I chucked down a handful of the questions that came in here just to give you an idea of what this section is about. So I will just reiterate, please do take a look at the prospectus. Lots of these questions are answered in much more detail than I'll give you here today. So, course created by practitioners. I've kind of said this already, actually, just at the beginning there, but we teach towards actual client goals because these are the things that we as practitioners, the tutors are all, suitably qualified in the areas that they are teaching you in. So whether that's in the clinical nutrition module, the sports nutrition module, all of the stuff we do around body composition, the huge area of health, wellness, fat loss, muscle gain, etc. And, very specifically helping with other things like aging, online group coaching. So again, taking that step from theory, practical of working with people, but then how do you apply that to working in a model that can give you some financial health? So there's, MNU, one of the reasons it came to being was all of the crap within the industry, all of the charlatans which were around 20 plus years ago when I started, and they're still around today, and they're still making loads of money and ripping people off. But, something we want to do is, make science sexy, give people the ability to have the confidence to work with clients, confidence that they know what they're doing, so they can shout about their client results and actually help people whilst being able to make a living. Because again, that's a passion for me, giving that financial health to our graduates, because typically selling out is the fastest way for people to gain success. And those who can sleep at night whilst ripping people off, or that Dunning-Kruger effect, if they don't know that they don't know anything and they're just selling rubbish. We had a discussion in the mentoring lab just today about a nutritionist who is just selling these sort of fake tests. And I don't know. I wrote in my initial response about how it was a scam. And then I deleted that because I was like, what's the meaning of the word scam? Is she scamming, or does she have no clue that what she's doing is completely non-evidence based? But again, she's selling something that people will buy into because they think it works, and she's making money, so she's getting some positive feedback. But yes, anyway, let me carry on. So, some people aren't aware of this, but Mac Nutrition Uni came from Mac Nutrition, our very, very successful nutrition consultancy, which to this year is about 20 years old, working with clients from a huge range of backgrounds, situations, from elite athletes to members of the general public, clinical nutrition, etc. And, on top of that, a huge part of this, I was on a podcast just recently talking a lot about the behavior change stuff and how to work with clients, how to get clients to stick to the principles of whatever their goal is so that they can get the results that they want, which is arguably more important than actually understanding the physiologically perfect scenario for them to achieve the result that they want. Is what's maybe something that's slightly less than perfect but they stick to, that they can achieve. Cool. So I'm not going to read all of these things out, but again, I mentioned module 4 earlier. Cool. The course structure, there were lots of questions about this. I ummed and ahed whether to put this in, but very quickly, so you can ask questions if you want to. It's weekly course lectures. There's an end of lecture test each week. And on top of that, you have these optional supportive watchings, homeworks, further readings, and they are optional. You can gain the qualification, the level 5 diploma, without doing, the supportive watchings, the homeworks, the further readings. There's the core content, and again, those who get the most out of the course go on to, have the most success. Do certain things. The reason the homeworks are optional is because we created absolutely every single homework with a specific reason. So for some people who are brand new career changers, some of the homeworks are literally what you would do after having qualified. So after I did my degrees and my postgraduates, I then was like, right, I'm going to work in the real world. And I had nothing to then start my business. Whereas what we want and what we create the environment for is you start your career having, well, one of the homeworks is creating your pre-consultation form. And of course, we give model answers for all of these things, and we don't allow people to just end up, sort of in the dark about these things. We actually give them the model answers that they can go, oh, okay, this is slightly better for my audience, slightly better for who I want to be working with, but I can take some of these key features for myself. Cool. Is there a comment saying you can't hear me? Maybe taking that out and then sorted. Amazing. Cool. Sorry, Instagram. We're back on. Everyone on Facebook okay? Is there? Cool. YouTube. I don't know if I swipe, what happens. Can I see any questions? Okay, cool. I'm seeing some questions coming in from different people, and even some comments from oh yes, someone who that's very nice. Someone who's already enrolled on the course is obviously watching, I think, on Instagram. So thank you very much. Right, I'll go back to doing this. My apologies. Right. So yes, weekly Q&A thread. So this is a key thing, and I'll talk about this more, but your tutors are literally available 365 days a year. And anything as you're watching real time, oh, I didn't quite understand this, part of the lecture, or coming to the end of the lecture and doing the end of lecture test. A question might be throwing you. You can literally go and speak to the tutors about those, get them to explain the answers to you, so that you go away not having just muddled your way through the course. You actually come out with knowledge on absolutely every aspect. Just going to pause for 1 minute. Is Instagram still being funny?
Yeah. I'm just going to start it.
Restart it. Yeah, good idea. Odd. Okay, cool. So student support like no other. These are your tutors here, if you can see this. I've jumped ahead, but yeah, 365 days a year. But again, team ranging from registered dietitians, clinical nutritionists, performance nutritionists. I've kind of said this stuff, but it's worthwhile. This is on the front page of the website. You can go and have a look at this. You can go and see how adequately qualified and amazing these people are in their respective areas. And again, we have the live check-in week. So just again, it helps with the accountability, the community that you will see from the outside looking in on MNU, all of the students, these lovely comments from people doing the course, having done the course, even looking forward to doing the course. This is where there's certain areas or people have maybe not understood a certain area, and maybe there's a handful of students who need extra help. So this year I actually did a Maths with Martin extra session for people who were just, there was just a handful of people who really wanted that help. So I've created a Maths with Martin session. And again, I just saw one of our current students put on her Instagram story today about the maths, because there is this, it's not a hugely mathematical subject. And I think I say this later, and I'm going to say it now. You don't, as much as I value my intelligence and academic success and love the science and very good at maths and the physiology and biochemistry and all that stuff, you don't need to be good at those things to do amazingly on MNU and then to be an amazing practitioner. And so as much as I would like to be like, oh, MNU is this really advanced course and it's better than everyone else, it is better than every other course in the world, undoubtedly. But it's not necessarily more complicated, and it's not necessarily more academically challenging. I don't think I've put this on the slide, but lots of people were asking about the exams. And I thought, I don't think I've put this as a bullet point, but the exams are open book. And so hopefully that makes some of you who, a lot of you who put these questions who are really worried about the academic side of things, or your dyslexia or dyscalculia, or ADHD, or the fact that you haven't been in study for ages, or whatever, all of these things that you said, you don't have to have an amazing memory. Like, so much of studying is just a memory test, and you just have to go and sit in an exam hall and you've memorized stuff, and then you have to remember that on the spot in a stressful environment. Fortunately, MNU is nothing like that, because that's not what makes a great practitioner. So we have case studies, and they're open book, and so it's just, could you work with a client in real life? And we give you the case study and those sorts of things. And I'm going to tell you now, there's 3 exams, a multiple choice exam, there's a short answer exam, we have to write stuff out, so it's like smaller sort of case study type questions and understanding different bits and bobs, and then there's your case study exam as exam 3. All of them are open book. You can ask me questions about those on there, no doubt. Every time I mention exams, everyone just hyper focuses on those instead of all the other amazing things. You don't need to worry. People start asking about failure rates and retakes and all that. And yes, you can retake multiple times if you need to. Again, we have had those situations. Not everyone passes first time. But again, we provide great feedback. But again, when I studied all those years ago, you didn't get feedback. You just had to retake. You didn't know what you got wrong or where you got it wrong. But yes, we are proud of the fact that we don't just let everyone pass, like many courses out there, even level 7 courses, sadly. But it just undermines the qualifications hugely. Right, let me move on. Student support, so we have these live things, we create brand new content to support people in the different areas they're struggling with, go into a bit more detail in areas that people are enjoying, etc., etc. We'll always go above and beyond. This is from just 6 days ago. Is that 6 days? Is it the 8th today? Yep, 6 days ago. But there was a student, a question from a student who is particularly wanting to focus on women in the perimenopausal period and postmenopausal period, and had lots and lots of questions, and had actually done 2 or 3 other courses. I was going to say qualifications. I think they're just courses, but by, I'm going to say quote unquote respected individuals, and was just left confused and not knowing. So I recorded essentially a mini 15-minute lecture podcast for her, and then you can sort of see her appreciative response. But again, this is going back to questions of people asking about, on the weekly threads. You can see sort of the detail that they are getting in the responses to their question about just one specific area of the lecture that they really wanted to understand a bit more. And we go to these lengths to help them. This all makes perfect sense. I appreciate the wisdom and care you guys put into replying to students as always. I didn't realise that animation was going to happen, but yeah. So yeah, practitioner-specific homework. I've already said this to you because I jumped ahead. But yes, some people, we have GPs doing MNU so that they can support their patients in a more holistic way. And so some of them don't end up doing these homeworks. And great, they don't need to. I don't want them to or need them to. It's picking and choosing the ones that you think will benefit you, and then we can support you with in terms of making sure you have, you know, the best case scenario for you and your situation. Okay, cool. Talking about comparisons, degrees and other courses, these are just a couple of questions that ask this. But again, we've had so many people coming through to the team here asking questions about different options and where they want to go with their career and these sorts of things. So yeah, you know, can't really afford the time off work. There's obviously a massive benefit of MNU, being able to study it alongside a full-time job. What would be the key reasons to choose MNU over other options? So I'm just going to touch on a bit of this. These are just really obvious. You can find these on the internet, and we have some pages with some tables. But obviously the cost is insane, the difference. Considering the scope of practice of an MNU certified nutritionist versus someone who goes to university and studies for 3 years, is no different. If not, MNU certified nutritionists have a greater scope of practice. It's kind of wild, but obviously we only teach nutrition non-stop, whereas degrees are set up very differently. I don't know if I've put in the table here, but we created a table with the modules you'll study over 3 years. Bearing in mind, the MNU tutors, our guest lecturers, the experts we have, they've all done these things. We've employed people over the last 10 years who have come from all different universities, and everyone has the same experience, that you learn so much useless information unless you want to go on to do a PhD and teach or be a researcher. If you want to work with people, it's hugely limited what you actually learn on a degree. So giving you an understanding. I will be very clear here, because we get so many, I'll call them Muppets, commenting on our adverts, whatever, saying, oh no, like you can't work in hospitals if you don't, you have to do dietetics. And we're like, yeah, well done. That's why we don't mention dietetics. Absolutely, if you want to work in clinical, you know, working with people with chronic kidney disease in hospitals, working with parenteral nutrition, etc., tube feeding, absolutely you must do dietetics. That is not what MNU is designed to help you do. Working, you know, treating disease is not what MNU. But again, a nutrition degree is also not for that either. And you can see there's so much more in like public health, community engagement, consumer behavior, food technology, exploring agriculture sector, food policy, new product development. Absolutely go and do a degree in nutrition if you want to work in industry, in the food industry, you know, working out how to reduce the sugar content by 10% in Kellogg's latest cereal. But if you want to work with real people in the real world, helping them to optimize their sports performance, their health, their you know, help them with certain ailments, if they've got aesthetic goals, etc., there is absolutely no other course in the whole wide world that will do that as well as MNU. You know, I've said that for years now, and have never had anyone challenge me on it, because I think, you know, the more you speak to the highly respected people the industry over, everyone agrees, which is a wonderful place for me and us to be in. So yeah. Also, it's always a bit painful to me when people ask me, well, you know, what's the difference between MNU and, you know, insert some, you know, one of the well-known, level 4 certifications that are, what about this certification? What about this certification? The difference between a certification and diploma is hundreds and hundreds of hours of study and scope of practice. The difference between level 4 and level 5 is also a massive jump. Level 4 certs are designed to give an informed awareness, an understanding of less complex topics. This is when people get accredited as level 4, if they're even accredited. This is what a level 4 means. You just have an informed awareness. Obviously, level 5 qualifications, practitioner can not only fully determine but also adapt nutrition interventions to complex client situations. That's what we had to show MNU was doing to allow it to be a level 5 diploma. So very different from doing your sort of level 4 with one of the companies out there that pushes those. A diploma is requirement to contain a minimum of 3 times more total qualification hours. So again, when if you're price sensitive, absolutely, I understand MNU is not cheap, but if you look at cheap for value for money, if I said you could fly first class around the world to New Zealand and back or whatever, and I said that would only cost you £5,000, that's cheap in the grand scheme of things. But actually the value for money, having flown first class, it's not worth it. Business class, on the other hand, yes. So that's not a great example, but even £2,000 to fly first class, that would be good value for money, amazing value for money, but it's not cheap. Not everyone can afford it, and I get that. But in terms of what you're getting, it's unbelievably, like, it's a tenth of the cost of a nutrition degree, and a nutrition degree isn't even comparable. And then you've got people going, what about this course? It's only £1,000, and it's like, it's a level 4 certification. You could literally listen to my podcast and know more than everything in that qualification, and that qualification isn't even providing you with something that an employer is going to look at favourably. And the whole student experience, the business support we provide, it's just next to it's incomprehensible what we offer for the price that it is. Cool. Finally, a level 5 diploma should not only increase a practitioner's knowledge and confidence working with clients, but also allow a greater scope to work with a broader range of clients. So there you go. I've actually popped this up here. This is one of our competitors actually created this sort of table. I don't know if we've changed it at all, or if we've just, but I think we've maybe added on a couple of bits and bobs. But you can kind of see where it sits, even though we've put it here as a level 5 rather than level 6, which is nutrition degree, as you can see that it offers so much more. Again, in terms of recognition, qualification framework, the behaviour change, sports nutrition, etc., etc. It's no one offers daily tutor support. So yes. Right, moving on to the good stuff. Future as MNU certified nutritionist jobs. Here's a couple of questions. This person worked with an MNU qualified nutritionist who was incredible. Wonderful, I'm glad to hear that for you. What sort of roles? So yeah, this is a very common one. I'm a career changer, or I haven't studied for a long time. Ben, again, was in a similar situation. You can see what he said about his time on MNU. And again, if you're thinking about MNU and are on the fence, do go and jump onto our website and look at there's hundreds and hundreds of testimonials on there. And we've stopped publishing all of them because they all just say the same amazing things about the course. You can go look on the Google reviews that people have left about us. You can, just Google what people are saying around the internet about the course. But I think it just helps you. You can find people, you can go and look at their Instagrams, you can go and see what was their situation beforehand and what are they doing now. Emphasis we put on practical application makes it easier to understand. So yes, this whole idea around worrying that, and I'm going to talk more about this in the fears section, but it's very, very practical. If you like nutrition, which presumably you must if you're wanting to do the course, it becomes a joy to study. We have the employment opportunities jobs board. So these are all specific opportunities for MNU certified nutritionists. So the people have reached out to us and said, we want MNU certified nutritionists. We respect what you teach them. We understand what they'll have been taught. We want them. So you can see here, it's, I never really, when we created MNU, this was never a goal. This just happened. And it's a wonderful side effect of creating something so brilliant. All we tried to do was just do our best, give people what they wanted and needed in an industry full of sort of misinformation, and MNU just became what it is with no real plan. Again, within the prospectus, you can see loads of these. Again, on our social media, like the social media team here, I'll just get DMs from people saying like, oh my goodness, I just got this job lecturing nutrition at my old university, where they didn't study nutrition, by the way. They studied like physical education or whatever. And they're now lecturing there. And then I just send a screenshot to the team and say, look what so-and-so just said, contact them, ask if they're happy for us to say it publicly. But again, Rosie and Lynn here talking about cool opportunities that have come off the back of it. And again, this is a key area for me because of the failings of different sectors and governments and whatever. The best case scenario is for you to be able to create your own income with your own business. So this is the key area I like to support people with, so that even if they do get employment, they're able to do this on the side, which gives you that long-term, if you end up moving country, as some of our graduates do, and it's amazing to see the opportunities that MNU gives them, or they have a baby, and so they want to, work from home, etc., and they've got this side of their business. So yeah, pages 80 to 120 of the prospectus, just go and read it. It's all there. I've been delivering the NHS diabetes prevention program the last 6 months. I got a job teaching college level nutrition at a university. He gave me not only the tools, ability to do this, but also the confidence. Offered an opportunity to lead nutritionist in a new private healthcare clinic, etc. Just non-stop people who are getting these opportunities. So yes, bespoke insurance over 35 countries now. Again, we worked very, very hard over the years, and I'm glad that we've got it and sorted it and no longer having to do it, but we're obviously growing this. It was 30 countries not long ago, but so that people are adequately covered. We have lots of liars in the industry, other course providers, particularly in Australia, telling people you must do our course and there's no other courses you can do. And basically fear-mongering and scaring them that they're going to report them if they start working with clients. And so we have to support all of these individuals who are sort of fretting because they're being basically threatened by their local association. This is what people are covered for, and they're qualified to do. Cool. You have the level 5 diploma, which is obviously government accredited. With the you'll see on the front page of the website there is a exam and regulation fee, and that is what essentially pays for your examinations to be sent to the assessment centre, and for your qualification to be officially registered with Ofqual, so that it's all legit, it's internationally recognised, etc. You also get to use the post-nominals MN Nutra, which is super cool, and people are using that to, for that recognition that they've studied an industry-recognised academic qualification, and obviously they can use the protected title of MNU Certified Nutritionist. Cool. I've said here, MNU Certified Nutritionist, same if not more. Scope is a degree qualified nutritionist. People talking about the AFN and these voluntary registered, they're all voluntary, there's no trademarks. But again, this fear-mongering, scaremongering, like, oh, you must do those things, etc., etc. Not true. Again, we get questions about AFN accredited courses. These are like CPD courses. And this is directly from the AFN website. Completion of AFN certified courses does not make an individual eligible for registration as a registered nutritionist registered with the AFN. That's not a protected title, bear that in mind. Nor does it qualify the individual as a certified diet advisor, nutrition advisor, weight specialist, nutrition assistant, or any such title. So doing an AFN accredited course is utterly pointless by the words of the AFN themselves. Cool. But yes, as a level 5 diploma, M&U is regulated by an AO, awarding organisation under the governance of Ofqual. There you go, simples. Boring technical stuff, but I think some people just don't understand how legitimate it is, because it's like, oh, it's online. We're still in a world where I think the world is moving to understand. Like half of my masters from, you know, one of the top 10 universities in the entire country was online. It's just so happens that sometimes I had to go in somewhere. And obviously with our Full With Honours programme, you come in and see us in person for some of your study, but it's not essential. Anyway, M&U is more than just a nutrition course, professional and business mentoring. A couple of things. What's the difference between your course options on the website? So Full With Honours versus full online. I've studied nutrition, but how will M&U help my business? These are the sorts of questions that were coming up. I'm not going to labour these because there's full pages on the website. You can go and look at these. There is the prospectus with all of the information about these. On our Instagram, you can go and look at the reels of the, you know, a day in the life of going to the body of comp residential sort of thing. But again, really practical skills that you can go away with, offer as services, great touch points with your clients. Again, the case studies residential is fantastic. We recommend it for people who are career changers or who want to work one-on-one and have their own consultancy, because we go so, you know, deeply into those practical skills, consultation skills, working with people in person, which, you know, can't really be taught online. Professional business mentoring. So we have, you know, this is just a small sample of the number of sort of, you know, very, very highly respected individuals we have delivering on a wide range of professional subjects that will for professional development as a nutritionist, but then also experts in business that will help with that kind of business development side of things. Again, you're part of a community. Our mentoring lab is a wonderful community of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, you know, M&U alumni, plus current students, plus people who have never done M&U outside of the industry but just want our support and our guidance and professional development support. Again, just more testimonials of people here. Dan Smith, obviously well-known sort of business mentor, and you know, he when he studied with us, talking about the mentoring lab being, you know, amazing and worth the course fees alone, which is an amazing statement. I'm just going to have a super quick scan. So many nice comments. Is there any questions? Okay, cool. I see here some questions. We'll see if any of these are sort of Daryl and Ben and Claire. I'll answer your questions in a minute. They look like really useful ones for people to hear. Carlos, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'll answer yours, I think. I'll very quickly just say to, I don't know your name, but it's Cadet is your, if I can see that, is your like Instagram handle. But asking about the aggressive diet, is that part of the course? It's not, but there's a huge part of the aggressive diet sort of theory and the practicalities around that. M&U is very nutrition agnostic. So the aggressive diet, the reason it's not within M&U is because it's one protocol. Really, the aggressive diet came from 20 years of my work and experience. And it was the first time I created like a system. But it's one system, and there's many more ways to work with clients than just that. So if that was included, then we'd have to include a system for every other one. You know, the aggressive diet blueprint is, I think, 70 or more sort of mini lectures in and of itself. So that on top of M&U would be talking about a 2-year qualification. So no, it's not, but lots of stuff within M&U that is covered, which is again one of the reasons that we offer M&U graduates a sort of discount on the blueprint, because some of it they will have seen before and they'll know a lot of the theory. They just really benefit from the system I've created for working with clients. Anyway, let me jump back to this. Quickly finish up these questions. Hours of expert lectures. I didn't actually read any of the nice comments you've left, but I will look at those in a minute. So thank you for those in advance. Hours of expert lectures, mentoring videos, business resources that will save you time and help make you more money, social media to email marketing, there you go, I've got there finally, fully editable client documents. I won't read all of these out, but doing all of this for you and teaching them how they're useful to use with your clients. We also have our business mentorship post M&U, again, completely optional, but as I said, I'm really passionate about making people successful as a result of doing our qualification. And I understand, I love maths, I love business, I wanted to be an accountant once upon a time. I love technology, I love social media, and I love working. So I've learned a lot over the years. And, way back in 2012, I think it was, or around then, we started our Mac Nutrition mentorship, which was kind of like a weekend mentorship that became now the mentoring lab. And now we have the Mac Nutrition business mentorship, which again is, I've written there, for those who want us to build their business in 3 days. Now, realistically, it's 6 months of business sort of coaching, business mentorship, but we have 3 intensive business building days. But anyway, I shouldn't really talk about that because it's irrelevant. It's for people who just really want to. I probably wouldn't do it. There you go. There's a ridiculous thing for someone trying to sell something to say. I wouldn't do it because I just like doing everything myself, even if it takes me 10 times as long and I make 100 times more mistakes. But some people want to just be told, this is the best option for these things. This is how to set up your payment system. This is your email system. Here's your onboarding for clients. Here's your website built for you. Etc., etc. But anyway, let me move on. Common fears about studying. This is a huge one. Here's 3 questions, but this, yeah, it's, I totally get this, because I think sometimes people see me speaking when the other tutors speaking, or obviously some of our M&U guest tutors have spoken at Mac Nutrition Live, and they're obviously insanely academic. They're publishing research, and you think, oh my goodness, am I going to have to understand all of this? Would I be able to have to write this in exam? And the answer is no. But after doing M&U, you will be flabbergasted at how much you've progressed, how you can look at a research paper and actually understand it. And that we have this aha moment. I literally have this click, and the comments on the live check-in week or whatever it's called, people are just like, oh my goodness, like I never knew that before. So yeah, someone saying here about being dyslexic, worried, been thinking about doing this course since it started. Wow. But yes, let me talk to you a bit about this. And here you go. One of the questions, I can't remember, maybe it was Claire. Ooh, bad. Was it Claire about work? She works long hours. Yeah. Look at that. But yeah, will I be able to fit it around work and life? Like pretty much everyone, barring half a dozen people over the last 10 years, have been working full-time jobs and doing lots of other ridiculous activities in their life that have made them incredibly busy. But flexibility to study anywhere, guided learning hours around 6 to 10 hours a week. Now that's on average. And for some people they can certainly get away with less because of their knowledge. You could do more than 10 hours if you did absolutely every single thing. Like if you don't have to touch the mentoring lab for the whole year. But if you did, that would be hundreds of hours if you wanted to. But in terms of the compulsory stuff, when you revise, you might want to do some extra hours. If there's a particular area you're super interested in, you might want to do some extra hours. But you have your weekly lecture, which would be anything from, I don't know, the shortest one maybe 47 minutes, the longest one maybe 2 hours, but on average in the sort of lower half of that range. And then you have your weekly test, and then and that's it realistically. Then you've got your further reading, your homework, your supportive watchings if you want to do. But people are doing this alongside jobs with wives and husbands that they support and cook for and spend time with, and children that they look after, etc. And they are managing and coping. Lectures are released weekly for you. You can watch them at any time, the most convenient for you. They then stay there for the remainder of the course for you to rewatch if you want. Some people catch up on a few lectures a bit like they would watching a TV show whilst on the plane or on holiday. Again, because it's fun, you're choosing to do this. Like, the learning is so much more enjoyable, and it's not hard and heavy. Just someone droning on at you with hard facts. It's people who are passionate about what they teach, which I think then comes across in the camera. So Jackson, very flexible, which works really well when you run a gym like myself. I can study when I want, I can learn how I want to learn, but everything I learn is applicable to my clients. Harry, I had a crazy year, fell behind with course and payments. Through a couple of very supportive chats with them in team, they helped me through, offered lots of flexibility. Anyway, yeah, just a couple of nice comments there. Reasonable adjustments. So again, lots of people talking about ADHD, dyslexia, maybe just struggling academically. We have supportive resources available. We have a reasonable adjustments form where you get extra time in the exams and all these sorts of things. As we are government accredited, you can apply for additional time in the final exams, although we don't offer tuition as such. Our support is second to none. I've realised that hour is wrong there. But James said here, MNU has been the most enjoyable course I've ever done. Cannot thank Martin and team enough. Due to struggling with learning difficulties in most things I've attempted, I've never had the ability or confidence to back myself as an expert. MNU changed that for me, and I couldn't be more grateful. So yeah, just wonderful things said by our students, and again, lots of them struggling with dyslexia, ADHD, dyscalculia, all of these things, and they have passed and gone on to flourish, and we'll support you with that. Cool, contact us, book a call. This is something we've recently initiated, the ability to talk with MNU tutor. So unlike I hasten to call anyone our competitor because it doesn't exist, a true MNU competitor. But people selling crummy courses in the same industry that we exist, one company in particular that the worst, and will hound you, and you'll have to delete your phone number or whatever, go X directory because of them, and who will sell at you and lie about MNU and whatever. We don't have salespeople. We don't have closers. We have nothing. All we have is an amazing, wonderful, lovely bunch of admissions team. And, then we have our social media team and all these other teams. But they're the ones that you'll talk to, and they're just there to support you with any question you may have about your life, your career, your situation. And then the other people you can talk to are then the MNU tutors. And I've asked them to give up their time to talk to you if you need questions answered that are specific to like MNU, studying. Like, this is why I did this webinar. Hopefully I've answered loads of your questions. You don't need to talk to them now. But if you're like, look, I want to work for this organization or in this sport in this country, can I just talk to someone who gets it? Like, you deliver the endurance athletes module, I want to work with them. Can I just talk to you and understand more? That's available. Hopefully that /book a call link works. We're guessing it does. I don't know if you can type it in there, see if it does. We'll make it work for you. Send the administration team any other questions, WhatsApp us, email us, it's all there. Cool. And as I said, come and meet us at Mac Nutrition Live. And that link doesn't work. We'll either make it work Will we be able to? I'm sure we will. Yeah, we'll be able to make it work. Just don't do it right now. But if you email us, you can set that call up with the tutors. I think there's like a form you do now, just because then it auto books it. It's all that business stuff. I probably created a stupid web page and then it just made work for everyone else. So now there's probably a super streamlined process. Okay. This is my equation. MNU certified nutritionist equals competence times confidence squared. It's really difficult to sell the level of confidence that people come out of MNU with. But just the way we teach, what we teach, it gives people just this like, fills a hole in their, where they've got an arrogance deficit, where they just don't have that self-belief where they need to have it, and they just really fully understand the whys and the whats. But yeah, as I said before, go and look at our reviews and just look at all the things that people say. Right, I'm going to quickly jump on here. All these lovely comments. Lindsay did the course a few years ago. It was a game changer. Again, Lindsay's one of our graduates. She's doing amazing things. That's really nice. She did a master's at uni. Course was more informative, practical than those 4 years combined. Yeah. So again, she's one of our sort of academically highly qualified in a related area graduates, but then she did MNU, and you know she's kind of bossing it, and we keep in close contact with her. That's very nice. Tracy, I'm doing the course this year and absolutely loving it. Hi Tracy. This is delightful. Look at all these comments. Everyone's on spending too much time on social media and not studying. Go and study this week's lecture. Let me answer some of these questions quickly. Where did I see them? They were in green. Here we go. After graduating, can I legally work online with clients based in California under the title MNU Certified Nutritionist and provide nutrition coaching and meal planning, provided I do not use title registered dietitian? So yeah, the answer is yes, essentially. If you want to email us about this, there are a very small handful of states in the US that you cannot use the MNU Certified Nutritionist title. I probably should be able to just reel them off the top of my head. They're few and far between, but the rest of the US, about 46-ish, 44-ish states, you can have full, use our US insurance, work in those states. But yes, California, I know that we have graduates there. So yeah, that's all good. Oh yeah, that was the other one, Claire. I work long hours. Yeah, cool. Hopefully that helped you, Claire, with that answer. But obviously reach out if you want to discuss these things more. I'm like talking to cameras here, and I'm not, the admissions team, and if you want anything to come to me, like so many emails come to me, and I will make sure that you're getting everything you need to know. Oh, that's so funny. Daryl, I'm a chef with a strong passion for nutrition. And then Lucy's put a little comment that Paul Hill, who's again one of our amazing graduates, has replied to him. That's so cool. Oh, her. Daryl is a her. Sorry about that. I can't see see your profile pictures, but that's wonderful. I'm going to complete the prerequisite course, but I'm still a bit nervous that I'm going to be on the back foot coming in without nutrition, medical science background. Do you have many students? That's amazing. Like, Paul is a great person. Paul's such a nice human being. I'm sure he's replied to you there. If you wanted to reach out to him and ask him, I don't think he'll mind me saying, but he's not like some wizard science academic type individual. He's a real guy, an amazing chef, hugely suited to being a coach and a practitioner working with people because of his personality and plus his MNU qualification. So yes, speak to him, and I'm sure you'll get a good understanding of the course and the level. Daryl, again, sorry, so just so I'm clear, after the course has been successfully completed, the title I can use is nutritionist or nutrition coach, or titles like these aren't regulated strictly from what I understand you said. Yeah, so MNU Certified Nutritionist is protected. And so it means something. It means more than someone saying, I'm a nutritionist or a nutrition coach. So you can be an MNU certified nutrition consultant, MNU certified nutritionist. So that's protected. The MN Nutra post-nominals are protected. But yes, someone can just say, I'm a nutrition coach, having done a level 4. They won't be insured to practice in the same way that an MNU certified nutritionist is. And again, lots of this stuff, lots of people saying, like, one of the common comments we have on adverts our adverts in the US is, you can't claim through insurance for your services. So what they're saying is, you can't bill someone's insurance company for them to pay you. And we're like, yeah, that is very often the case. It does, however, we have had situations where people do that, but it depends on the insurance policy, and insurance companies are free to set that however they want. But typically, even if you had a nutrition degree, you still wouldn't be able to bill. You have to be a medical professional, like a doctor or a dietitian that has been referred in the hospital. And the problem is very often, they're not the people you want to work with, because they're not the ones who are an expert in weight loss or muscle gain or sports performance. And the fact is that our graduates are so good and are getting such amazing results. People are happy to take money out of their own pocket and pay for these services, rather than having to jump through hoops, fill in forms and get it paid elsewhere. So I hope that answers your question, Daryl. Can you switch to full with honours after year start? Elena. Yes and no. So typically the full with honours course, because it's limited places, it gets completely full. However, I don't know if it's happened every year, but most years, at least one place will become available because of maybe a sad situation or someone defers to a future intake or whatever. We will offer out those at our spaces at the residentials for the full with honours residentials places. If you want to do those residentials, I would get on the full with honours course to be guaranteed the ability to do that. However, again, some situations people do full online, and then once you've done the course, you can then come back another year and do a residential with us to kind of upgrade to full with honours status. So yes and no, I wouldn't bank on being able to do it. But reach out to us and tell us why you're thinking that. Do you not currently know if you're free on those dates? We have the dates up front. Cool. Christina with an X is the most amazing name I've seen. If that's how you pronounce it, I apologise if it's not. Xristina. That's cool, but you're very welcome for the answer. Thanks for being here. Eddie just passed his exams. Anyone thinking about doing MNU? Stop thinking, sign up. I'm proud certified. Best investment I've made in my career. That's very, very kind of you, Eddie. OnlyFlans. This is so funny. I know your name. We've definitely interacted on Instagram, haven't we? Because every time I see you in my DMs with the name OnlyFlans, I obviously think, who's messaging me? It's been super helpful, put a great deal of worries to rest. That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Hopefully one day I'll learn your real name and not call you OnlyFlans. Cool. Any more questions? Chloe, I'm currently doing MNU. Chloe, my only regret is not jumping in the first time I consider it. That's very kind. Thanks, Chloe. I tried to convince Chloe to do the business mentorship, but she's away on those days doing other fun things, and she's also got a very successful business anyway. I think I've answered most of these. In one way or another. I feel kind of naked without having my phone here, being able to see, comments of people talking. But if you have any other questions, like I say, DM me. Just on Instagram, DM me. It's always me. You'll be talking directly to me. There's no AI, there's no bots, there's no stuff. It's just me. I'll answer your questions. If I'm not the best person to speak to, I'll pass you on to the best staff member. Email us. The admissions team are honestly the loveliest bunch of people. Obviously, because I employed them and trained them and taught them how to be. But they are just genuinely good humans. It's so helpful. And again, if you DM the Matt Nutrition account, the Matt Nutrition social media, you go through to Beth or Lucy. And again, they will sort any inquiries or anything you have. So please let us know. I don't think I've got anything more to say. I'll just double check with Lucy if I... No, all good. Thanks so much, everyone. This is probably, I think we've done this 3 times now. I think it's just my favourite one ever. So I'll leave it there. We'll be sending out the recording of this if you want to look back, if you want to. I don't know if you'll be able to access the slides or whatever, but you'll obviously have them there on YouTube, Facebook, probably Instagram. Not sure about TikTok. How does TikTok work? Do you post it? We don't know. We don't do TikTok. Cool. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your lovely comments. Those of you who are on this intake and all the graduates who logged on your evenings. And I hope to see lots of you on MNU this year. That would be wonderful to support you on that journey. Until we meet again, much love, everyone. Jeez.
So many.
I know, yeah. Obviously we need, hopefully be able to keep some of them.
Yeah. Most of them